before language, before art as we usually define it, before anyone could ask, why is that funny? Someone was already laughing, not at a joke, at nothing you'd recognize as comedy at all. Laughter did not begin with humans. It began at least 10 to 16 million years ago in the common ancestor we share with the great apes. Scientists tickled chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, and orangutans, then ran acoustic analysis on the recordings. Ape laughter and human laughter share the same evolutionary root. The panting, breathy, ha ha sound chimpanzees make during rough play is not a coincidence. It's the same signal inherited, modified, carried forward for millions of years. So the question isn't really, why did humans start laughing? Humans didn't start it. Humans inherited it and then changed what it was for. In every great ape studied, laughter appears almost exclusively during physical play, wrestling, chasing, tickling. It is what researchers call a play vocalization. It has one job: tell everyone nearby, this is not a fight. Keep going, you are safe. There was no punchline, there was only rough contact between bodies and a sound that made rough contact feel safe instead of threatening. This matters because it tells us something the mainstream story of comedy skips entirely. Laughter is older than humour. Humour had to be invented to give laughter something new to attach to. Here's a detail almost never covered outside specialist journals. Chimpanzees can only laugh in short, panting bursts, one sound per breath in and out, because in four-legged animals, breathing is locked to the rhythm of running. The chest has to absorb the shock of each footfall. When human ancestors stood upright, that shock absorption job disappeared. Breathing was freed from locomotion, and that physical liberation didn't just make walking easier, it made a completely new kind of vocalization possible: sustained, controlled, past laughter, not just panting, actual voiced ha 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 laughter, and eventually speech itself. Which means standing up on two legs may be the reason humans can laugh the way we do, and the reason we can talk at all through the exact same evolutionary shortcut. Here's where it gets genuinely obscure. There is a body of Spanish and French academic research, largely untranslated, rarely cited outside niche archaeology journals, on what researchers call graphic caricatures in Upper Paleolithic art from the Magdalenian period, roughly 17,000 to 12,000 years ago. One archaeologist spent years cataloguing a specific category of cave engravings: human and human like heads with deliberately exaggerated features, oversized noses, distorted faces, upturned mouth lines interpreted as smiles or open laughter. These aren't accidental. His doctoral thesis argues the humorous meaning of these images has been systematically overlooked for a century because prehistoric art has been almost exclusively read through a lens of sacred ritual and survival magic. His conclusion, translated: these engravings may be graphic evidence of the good emotional state of the human societies that lived through that long period of time. In plain terms, 15,000 years ago, someone carved a deliberately silly, exaggerated face into stone or bone, not to worship something, not to record a hunt, just because a distorted face is funny, and that instinct is written into the rock. Now, the honest, careful part: there is no confirmed archaeological attribution of these specific caricature engravings to female makers, unlike cave handprints, where forensic analysis has shown roughly 75% were made by women. The caricature record doesn't currently allow that same claim. It would be inaccurate to state otherwise. But here is what the research does support, and it connects directly to prehistoric women. One influential theory, the vocal grooming hypothesis, suggests laughter like vocalization spread through early human groups the way physical grooming spreads through other primates, releasing the same bonding chemicals and building the same trust. Grooming in primate societies is disproportionately a female centered, female to female, and mother infant activity. If laughter inherited grooming's job, it inherited a role that women were already doing the most. And in modern comparative studies, not identical to prehistoric conditions, but the closest living data we have, women consistently show higher rates of what researchers call solidarity laughter, laughing more while speaking, to bond a group together rather than laughing as a response to being amused. Multiple studies have found women's laughter functions more as social glue and stress relief within relationships, while men's laughter skews toward performance and status. If that pattern has any deep roots, and researchers are cautious here, this is inference, not proof. It suggests prehistoric women may have been using laughter primarily as a bonding tool, holding a group together through connection, long before comedy as performance existed at all. So, why did humans start laughing? They didn't. Apes were already doing it, 15 million years before the first humans stood up. What humans did was stand upright, free their breath, and turn an old play signal into something new. First a bonding tool, carried mostly through the same close, high contact relationships women have always maintained. Then, at some point in the last 20,000 years, someone carved an exaggerated, ridiculous face into stone, not for the gods, not for the hunt, but simply because it was funny. That carving still exists. The joke is 15,000 years old. We just don't know if we're still allowed to laugh at it.